Hi everybody and welcome back to my kitchen. It's time for another episode of What's Cooking with Nancy, when this one is all Nikki's fault. Nikki sent me a recipe the other day and she had to have known when she sent it that I wouldn't be able to resist. She sent me a recipe for baked Weight Watchers lemon donuts. And the recipe claims that those donuts are only 3 points a piece, which if you know anything about Weight Watchers is pretty good. If you want to have yourself a donut, you're not going to get one at any donut shop I know for 3 points a piece. So I was dubious, so I immediately took the recipe that she gave me and plugged it into my little points calculator, and sure enough, it came out to 3 points a piece. So that is wonderful, and we're going to try making it today. So we're going to go over some of the supplies and things that we need, some of the things that I didn't have, and we'll tell you how we're going to get around those. Okay, so stay tuned. So the first thing that I need that I don't have is a donut pan. Apparently this recipe makes enough for 18 small donuts, and I immediately thought, well, what am I going to do instead? So I looked up alternatives to donut pans on the internet, and this is what I found. So apparently into a regular sized muffin tin, you can take pieces of tin foil that are about 5 inches square, crumple them up into little balls and put them in the center of your muffin cups. And then you just spray the whole kit and caboodle with Pam No Stick Cook Spray before they go into the oven. And the little tinfoil balls are supposed to pop right out when you're done cooking. However, I quickly learned two things. Number one, cutting up and balling up tinfoil into little balls is a big pain in the butt. And I don't really want to do it. So I'm not. I'm going to do the 5 that you can see with the little tinfoil balls, and the rest I'm going to just do as a normal, like in the shape of a muffin tin. So it'll be more like one of those puffy filled donuts in appearance anyway. The only thing I will say is that doing it that way probably makes a difference in the quantity. I don't expect I will get 18 out of that recipe because of course the absence of the dough in the center will take a toll on the recipe. So we'll see how many we end up with. So I also have, of course, my Pam No Stick Cook Spray here. And let's go over and talk about some of our ingredients. So in the big white bowl there we have, let me grab my recipe. See if I can, see if I can do this and read at the same time. So we've got 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. We've got 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, this recipe called for egg beaters. I don't have egg beaters, so I'm just going to substitute with 1 regular egg, which I don't have out of my fridge yet, but I will get that. In the red measuring cup there, we have 3/4 cup of fat-free Greek yogurt. We've also got 1/3 cup of unsweetened applesauce. That's just one of the little snack packs that you get for kids for in their lunch pails. That works out to about 1/3 cup right there. We've got 1/3 cup milk. Where is that? There it is. There's our milk. I've also got a lemon handy, and then in that little back bowl there sitting on the cupboard, that is our icing sugar that is going to be used to make our glaze. Okay, so I'm going to get my egg. We're also going to need, it says either a large Ziploc bag or a piping bag. I don't have great big Ziplocs, so I'm just going to go downstairs and grab one of my piping bags from my cake making supplies so that we can put our batter in our pan. So let's get started. Okay, so I realize I may be back to being a headless torso here, but my son's doing homework and I'm without anybody to help me at the moment, so we're doing the best we can. We're flying by the seat of our pants. So the first thing the recipe wants us to do is to sift together our dry ingredients. So in goes our flour. Oops. There. We've got our sugar. Baking soda, baking powder, and our salt. We'll just break up any of those lumps and get them pressed through. Perfect. Okay. So in a separate bowl, we're going to deal with our wet ingredients. And we'll need a whisk. So in this bowl, we're going to put our egg or our egg beaters, such as the case may be. Our milk. Our Greek yogurt. And our applesauce. Oh, and we're going to add the zest of 1 lemon, which I have already removed here. That's what's going to give it that real nice lemon flavor. Give that a whisk. So this is pretty loose batter, I would say. I don't know if you can see it from where you are. Let me see if I can do this without spilling all over. I don't know. Probably not. Anyway, really loose batter. It's, I would say it's not even as thick as very loose pancake batter, which would explain why they're telling us to put it into a piping bag once we get it combined with our dry ingredients. But let's do that now. And I think for this, I'm going to use my spoon here because it's just going to give my dry ingredients a bit of a mix. First, I'm going to form a little well in the middle, and I'm just going to start adding my wet ingredients to it. Okay, that took some doing. It's thicker than I thought it would be for them wanting us to put it into a piping bag, but I'm game. I'm going to play along and see how this goes into the pan. Okay guys, so full disclosure, I haven't put my donuts in the oven yet. I haven't even put the batter into the muffin pan. I'm looking at that batter and I'm thinking there's no way you're getting 18 of anything out of this. And it's also not as loose as the recipe would have you believe. So I decided that instead of going with what the internet recommended as for using just 1 egg, equating to 1/4 cup of egg beaters, I was actually going to use 2 eggs. And I have to say my batter looks so much better. It looks a little glossier, quite a bit less stiff. And I think now it's definitely going to, go better into the pan. It's not going to be so stiff and awkward to get out of our piping bag. So 2 eggs instead of the 1 that I had originally shown going into the batter. Okay, 2 eggs. Now let's get it in the pan. Okay, so we are about to get our batter into the pan, and I just want to show you, it's quite a difference in how elastic that batter is looking with the addition of the 2nd egg. It may flop royally, but I mean, ultimately, I think it's going to bake up, and I mean, it's a baked good that tastes like lemon. How bad could it be, even if it doesn't make a great donut? So to get this into the pan, I'm going to use a piping bag. So I've got one of my little bags that I use when I'm frosting cakes, and I'm just going to fold it over, and I like to always kind of fold it over the rim of a glass, just so that it kind of holds it steady when I'm putting the batter.
Everybody, it's Winston here, chilling on the floor with the mama, making some lemon donuts. Fill us in on that.
Are you actually recording this?
Yes!
Thank you to my darling son, who I did asked to help me with this. That's my own darn fault. So we have never ask a 14-year-old for help with anything that you expect to be taken serious. Okay, anyway, so yes, we've got our batter made, and now we're going to try and get it into the pan using a piping bag. This is going to be a big mess, I feel like, but we'll try. Not going to put it all in, obviously, because this is not nearly a big enough piping bag to do that, but let's start. Well, it's not too bad for a mess. Let's start with that. We're going to shimmy our batter down to the end. Cut the tip off. Now, before we put it in, I'll turn on a light here so you can see what I'm doing. I've got my my muffin pan is sprayed with cooking spray, and I've got my little balls in here of tin foil. So let's start putting in some batter around those tin foil balls and see where we end up. Whoops. Can you see what's going on here, Andrew?
Yep.
So as you can see, I'm not filling these hugely full. Like the tin foil is still higher than the donut. These are going to be small. These are going to be like those little silly ones that you get at the store that are covered with the powder.
Those are good.
Again, never ask a 14-year-old.
What? It's true.
No, they are good actually.
My point. So don't go ahead and get mad at me for that.
Okay, I am going to refill my piping bag, and I'm going to continue with this, and when we have them all in the pan, we will come back and show you where we're at. Okay, so back to seriousness after my son helping me there. No, he's a good kid. So here's what we ended up with. We ended up with 4, 8, 12, say 20 muffins, or 20 donuts, so to speak, instead of the 18. Now, again, I'm not using an actual donut pan, so perhaps the numbers would have been more accurate if I was. Maybe me adding that other egg really screwed things up, and I guess we'll see. But we're gonna pop these in the oven. Again, the oven's at 325 actually right now. Sorry, 325. I think I may have said 350 earlier. 325. And we're going to give it 12 to 15 minutes and see where we're at. And while they're in the oven, we're going to get working on our lemon glaze. Okay guys, so now we're going to make a lemon glaze that we can brush on our donuts when they are out of the oven. And I got to tell you, I turned on the oven light, and I didn't open my door because I didn't want to lose any of my heat. But I peeked in with the light on, and they are puffing up beautifully. Like, they do kind of, for all intent and purposes, look, I guess, a bit like a cupcake, but like I said, it's a baked good that tastes like lemon. How bad can that be? So I'm game. I need a knife. Now I don't want to make, I've done this before when I've made like a lemon glaze for something, and I always end up using way too much icing sugar and way too much lemon juice. And you're trying to get the consistency right, and then you end up throwing out a whole bunch of stuff that you really shouldn't. So what I'm going to do, I've started with a ½ cup of icing sugar, which I've sifted. This is the lemon that I took the zest off of for my recipe. We're just going to use a half, and I think to be safe, I'm going to get my little strainer. Just because there are seeds in this for sure. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm gonna use my little reamer, and I'm just gonna, whoa, these are juicy lemons, holy cow. Sometimes you get them from the store and they're not the greatest, you know, they're a little hard. Handy hint that we learned this morning in our Zoom coffee meeting, one of our participants said that you can actually freeze half lemons. So if you happen to buy too many and you don't want them to go bad, you don't want them to shrivel up to nothing, you can just cut them in half and put them in a Ziploc, and then you can still use the zest off them. They still get, produce a good amount of juice for you. So that's, it's good to know. All right, so I've got my juice. I'm just gonna start whisking, and hopefully I've calculated about right. Yep, this is looking good. Just tipping my bowl to get any extra glaze or sugar that was on the edge of my bowl. Now this does not look like a lot. We don't really need a lot. You just need to brush the top of each one with a little extra sweetness. So I'm gonna see how far this goes. If I have to make more, I'll let you know at the end here. But for all intent and purposes, I'm just gonna leave that be. I think that looks pretty good. And now we just have to wait for those donuts to come out of the oven. Okay guys, so our donuts are out of the oven. The pan has cooled and I've loosened them just to make sure they're gonna come off the bottom of the pan. We're going to just hit them with some of our lemon glaze with our little basting brush. Doesn't take much. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to say, don't waste your time doing the little tinfoil ball method that I showed you, because I was trying it because I'd seen that on YouTube. Didn't work. It was just a pain in the butt, and several of them got really mangled as I was trying to pull the little tinfoil balls out of the center, and they look awful. So yeah, they look like muffins. I guess for all intent and purposes, they are muffins. They still look really good. They smell really good. In fairness, they smell more right now like a vanilla cupcake than a lemon donut, but the proof will be in the tasting. So right now it's about 10 to 5. I am not eating a donut right now because it's just about time for me to start cooking up supper, which tonight is going to be some chicken and broccoli and some brown rice. However, for dessert, I will have one of these bad boys, and I will get Andrew also to try one or two and weigh in on the taste test. So we will be back. These are glazed. They are looking good. Have a look-see. And we'll be back to tell you how they taste. Okay, so we are back with my son Andrew, who has very graciously agreed to do the muffin pan donut taste test. So Andrew, take a bite. Oh, and my hound Winston, who is going after whatever he can get on the table.
No.
The challenge is real. Okay, so first of all, how does it taste?
You can taste the lemon.
Tastes like lemon. Is it pleasant? Do you enjoy the taste? Okay. Does it chew the way a donut would chew?
Not really.
Is it more spongy, more like a cupcake?
More spongy.
Yeah. Okay, so that could be either a product of me having used the extra egg or just used the muffin pan. I'm not sure. Bottom line, would you eat more than one?
I already am.
Okay. So Andrew has given his what? Thumbs up? Thumbs up. Well, there, folks, there you have it. So thank you for joining me in my kitchen for another edition of Nancy Cooks and What's Cooking with Nancy. Thank you, Andrew, for your help with videotaping this, and thank you for your taste test.
Yep.
And thank you, Winston, for being just baggy and cute.